The sun was dying slow behind the mesas when the rancher rode in. Dust followed him like a shadow that refused to let go. He hadn't seen another soul for 2 days, only the wind, the coyotes, and the empty land that had taken more from him than he could count. Ethan Cole wasn't much for company anymore. He spoke only to his horse and the ghosts of his past. But that evening, as he pushed through his cabin door, something made him stop dead in his tracks. There was smoke curling from the fireplace. Someone was inside. His rifle came up instinctively. He stepped soft, boots creaking on the old floorboards. Then he saw her, a woman, young with dark hair tied back, wearing a torn traveling dress. She was standing near the hearth, warming her hands like she belonged there. Her eyes darted to him, wide and alert. "Don't shoot," she said quietly. "I thought this place was empty." Her voice trembled, but not from fear, from exhaustion. Ethan kept the rifle leveled. "It was," he said flatly, "until you broke in." She nodded slowly, her eyes dropping to the floor. "I had nowhere else to go," she whispered. "The stage was ambushed 5 miles east. Everyone else didn't make it." Her voice cracked, the firelight flickering over her bruised face. Something in Ethan's chest shifted, that part of him that still remembered what mercy felt like. He lowered the rifle just a fraction. "You hurt?" he asked. She shook her head, though her hands trembled. "No, just cold. And hungry." He hesitated, then set the rifle by the wall. "There's stew left from yesterday," he said gruffly. "Eat, then you can tell me what happened." She moved carefully, like a deer afraid to spook the hunter. She sat by the table, spooning the stew with shaky hands, eyes flicking toward him every few seconds. After a while, she spoke again. "You live here alone?" Ethan nodded. "Used to be different. Wife's gone. Was everyone else worth talking to?" The woman's eyes softened. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "You must think I'm trouble." Ethan gave a dry laugh. "Out here, everyone's trouble. It's just a matter of how much." She smiled faintly, the first hint of warmth in her tired face. Outside, thunder rolled low over the plains. The storm came fast, hammering the roof with rain. Ethan threw another log on the fire, watching her in the glow. She pulled her shawl tighter, but he noticed her shiver. "You'll freeze if those clothes stay wet," he said. She met his gaze, eyes steady now. "Then I'll dry them," she said. And before he could turn away, she began unbuttoning the top of her dress. Ethan froze. The room went still, except for the rain and the crackle of fire. "You don't have to," he began, but she interrupted softly. "Wait. I take it off." Her tone wasn't suggestive. It was survival, plain and raw. "If I don't dry it, I'll catch fever by morning." She slipped off the wet sleeves, revealing bruises along her shoulders, the kind left by rough hands. Ethan looked away, jaw tight. "Those men from the stage?" he asked. She nodded slowly, eyes distant. "One of them lived long enough to try again." He turned toward the window, rain streaking down the glass like tears. "You're safe here," he said, voice low. "Ain't nobody coming through that storm tonight." She sat near the fire in his old blanket, her wet dress hung on a chair to dry. For a long time, neither spoke. The silence between them wasn't awkward. It was the sound of two broken souls remembering what trust felt like. As the storm raged, Ethan poured her a tin cup of coffee. She accepted it with both hands, eyes glimmering in the firelight. "Why help me?" she asked quietly. "You don't even know my name." He looked into the flames. "Names don't matter much anymore," he said. "What matters is that you made it out alive." She smiled faintly, her eyes heavy with exhaustion. "Then maybe you saved me twice," she whispered. He didn't ask what she meant. He didn't have to. The storm outside howled like the ghosts of the plains. But inside that cabin, for the first time in years, Ethan Cole felt something he thought he'd buried with his past. The fragile warmth of being needed. The storm didn't let up through the night. Wind clawed at the windows. Thunder rattled the beams, and somewhere in the distance a coyote howled like it was mourning the dead. Ethan couldn't sleep. He sat in the corner, rifle across his knees, watching the fire die down to embers. The woman, Clara, she'd finally said her name was, slept curled beneath the blanket, her hair spilling across his old pillow. Every so often she'd twitch, whispering something in her sleep that made his heart sink a little lower. He'd seen that kind of restlessness before. It came from the ones who'd seen too much. At dawn, the storm broke. The air smelled of wet earth and pine. Ethan stepped outside, stretching stiff shoulders, the weight of the night still on him. The horizon was pale gold, the world calm again, but the calm felt wrong. Too quiet. His horse, usually calm, shifted uneasily. He followed its gaze and froze. Across the ridge, half a mile out, were tracks. 3 horses heading straight toward the cabin. He went back inside, boots heavy with mud. "Clara," he said. She stirred, blinking awake, confusion giving way to fear when she saw his face. "They're coming, aren't they?" she whispered. He nodded. 3 riders. "You recognize the tracks?" Her hands shook as she pushed the blanket aside. "One of them, yes. He's the one who led the ambush. I thought he died." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then you were the one they were after, not the stage." She looked at him, guilt flickering in her eyes. "I never told you why I was on that coach," she said. "My husband, he worked for a bank in Santa Fe. He stole money. A lot of it. I didn't know until men came knocking. When he was killed, they came for me, thinking I knew where he hid it." She swallowed hard. "They're not bandits, Ethan, they're bounty men." He stared at her, silent, the firelight flickering between them. "You brought killers to my door." She rose, tears glinting. "I didn't mean to. I thought if I ran far enough." Her voice broke. "I didn't have anywhere else to go." Ethan turned toward the window again. Dust trails moved closer through the morning mist. "You sure they're after you? Not just the money?" She hesitated. "Maybe both." He sighed, reaching for his rifle. "Then they'll get neither." He tossed her a saddlebag. "Back door. You take the canyon path and ride north. They won't see you in that cover." She shook her head fiercely. "I'm not running again." "They'll kill you." Ethan gave a half smile that didn't reach his eyes. "They'll try." The riders came fast, 3 dark silhouettes cutting across the plains. Ethan stepped onto the porch, the rifle resting against the post, hat brim low. "You boys lost," he called. The lead rider, a scarred man with cold eyes, grinned. "Not lost, friend. Just looking for a woman came through here last night. Took something that belongs to us." Ethan's tone was dry. "Ain't seen anyone worth keeping company with in a long while." The man's grin widened. "That so?" He dismounted, spurs clinking. "Mind if we take a look inside?" Ethan's hand didn't move, but his eyes hardened. "I do mind." The silence stretched like a drawn bow. Then the outlaw's smile vanished. "You sure you want to die for her?" Ethan's reply came like gravel. "Ain't dying, just cleaning house." The first shot split the morning. A hawk cried overhead as dust exploded from the porch rail. Ethan dove sideways, firing twice. One rider fell, horse screaming, the others scattering behind rocks. The woman screamed from inside, but Ethan shouted, "Stay down!" Bullets ripped through the cabin walls, splinters flying. He reloaded by instinct, breath ragged, ears ringing. When the smoke cleared, only one rider remained, the scarred man. He stepped out from cover limping, revolver aimed steady. "You can't save her," he sneered. Ethan said nothing. He waited for the wind to shift, saw the man's hand twitch, and fired. The scarred man stumbled back, dropped his gun, and fell face first into the dirt. Silence again. Just the wind, the smell of gunpowder, and the far-off cry of the hawk. Ethan stood there a long time before lowering the rifle. His hands trembled, but not from fear, from memory. Clara stepped out slowly, eyes wide, dress torn, smoke rising from the broken window behind her. "You could have let them take me," she whispered. "Would have been easier." He looked at her, eyes cold but kind. "Maybe, but I reckon I've done enough of what's easy." She walked toward him, and for the first time he didn't step away. The plains stretched endless before them, the storm gone, the danger past, at least for now. Somewhere deep inside, Ethan knew nothing would ever be the same. Not after the night she said, "Wait, I take it off."